Good afternoon, children. We have already started with our land resource topic. Now, we have already done the different categories of land use. You have seen in your book also, there are 5 main categories given. Are also given in the notes that these 5 main categories are having their subcategories, and all the basis of classification with the exception of the first one, that is forest, are done on the basis of use of land mainly for agriculture. Our next topic is land use pattern in India. Now when we talk of land use pattern in India, we are mainly guided by two sets of factors. Now here, these two sets of factors are physical factors and human factors. Now in geography, whenever we talk of physical, that means they are natural factors. Those factors exist in nature itself. Now the first of them is relief or topography, that is how the land surface is. If the land is plain, it will be used for cultivation, for settling. If the land is ups and downs or a plateau area, so it is not suitable for carrying out cultivation. So relief is the most important factor because some of the lands are best suited for transportation, for cultivation, whereas some lands are not suitable because the relief does not supports it. Next comes climate. Climate here plays a very important role. If the climate is moderate, like the tropical climate of our country, then the living conditions are best suited and year-round cultivation can be carried out. There will be more land occupied by the people for occupation type like agriculture, and there will be less land devoted to residential purpose. So if climate is suitable, then it will support agricultural activities and other economic activities also. Then comes our soil type. Here in soil type also, this plays a very important role in the choice of occupation. More the fertile soil, more will be the land devoted to agriculture. So in fact, relief, climate and soil types are working together to determine the land use pattern of a country, and you will find that maximum land of our country is devoted to agricultural activities. Next come our human resources. Now in case of human resource, population density is very important because more and more people living in any area means that the physical conditions are suitable. And as the population density increases, the land use will change. Like previously, human beings used to spread out and live in single unit houses. There was horizontal spreading out of the population more. But as the population density increased, there are apartments and high rises, multi-storied buildings, because the land has become less. So people start using the land mainly for living but in a vertical manner. Next comes our technological capability. Now this technological capability is important because more the country is using techniques, machines, more will be the advancement of a country. Now technological capability also affects labor, capital flow, migration, increase and decrease of population. So technological capability is important in determining the use of land. If technology is advanced, you will find more land is devoted to industries. Whereas if technology is poor, then there will be more agricultural use of land. Like you will find the industrialized nations have more land devoted to industries and comparatively lesser land devoted to agriculture. So, technological capability affects the labor market, capital flow. More advancement means more amount of capital will be generated. Migration pattern, because labor will move from the rural areas to the industrialized areas for living, and of course this will indirectly influence the increase and decrease of population. And then we have culture and tradition, which is also important. Sometimes we do not want to change the deep rooted culture or tradition that we are following, and so we try to follow the traditional occupation or remain rooted to the traditional use of land. So these are the main factors that determine the land use pattern of a country. Now, in our country, we have a geographical area of 3.28 million square kilometers. Now, this entire country could not be surveyed for getting the land use data, because there are some areas which are problem areas. So, out of this 3.28 million square kilometer, only 93% of the total area has been surveyed. And the states which have not been surveyed are Jammu Kashmir, and in Jammu Kashmir also we are having this Pak occupied Kashmir and China occupied Kashmir, which could not be surveyed at all. And then we have the northeast states. Among the northeast states, Assam has been surveyed, but the other rest of the states could not be surveyed because of different issues related to security. They are forest covered areas. Some areas remain flooded for a larger part of the year. So the rest of the country covers 93% of the total area, and we have a comparative data of the land use in our country. Now let us study the land use categories and their comparison in the country. Now I have data of 3 years. We have 1960-61 data, 2002-2003 data, and I have 2008 and 2009 data. Now in this data, you will find that a comparison is given. In your book also, there is a pie chart given regarding the comparison in page number 6. So you will find that there are 2 pie charts given. I have of course data of 3 years. So in 1960-61, the land that was devoted to forest was 18.11. Now this percentage increased to 22.57 in 2002 and 3, and slightly again increased in 2008-2009 to 22.78. Next category we have as barren and wasteland. The barren and wasteland in 60-61 was 12.01. In 2002 and 3 it was 6.29. It decreased almost to half. It mainly happened due to use of land reclamation measures. However, it again increased to 8.61%. The next category is the land put to non-agricultural use, that is buildings, road, factories. Here in 1960-61 it was 4.95%. Then in 2002-2003 it further increased to 7.92%. In 2008 and 9 it covered 5.57% of the total area. Then coming to the next category, other uncultivated land, we have this permanent pasture or grazing ground. We had 4.71% in 1960-61 and it decreased to 3.45% in 2002-2003, and again it decreased to 3.38% in 2008-2009. You might be having the recent edition, children, and recent data. Now in 1960-61, land under miscellaneous tree crops or groups, that is I had said the orchards, mango orchards, apple orchards. So it was 1.50% in 1960-61. This increased to this decreased to 1.10% in 2002-2003, and in 2008-2009 there was a slight improvement, 1.11%. Then the next category, that is cultivable wasteland, that is land which is remaining without cultivation for more than 5 agricultural years. In that, the land covered was 6.23%. It decreased to 4.41%, and further it decreased to 4.17% in 2008-2009. Then we have the category of fallow lands. Now in fallow lands, the first category is current fallow, that is left uncultivated for more than 1 or less than 1 year. Now here it is 3.73%. Now this current fallow increased to 7.03%, and again it further increased to 4.76%. That is, the farmers are trying to devote more land for natural regaining of soil fertility. And then again in the next category, that is fallow other than current fallow, where it is left uncultivated for 1 to 5 years. Here in 1960-61 it was 3.50%. Again in 2002-2003 it increased further to 3.82%, and in 2008-2009 it was 3.37%. Now coming to the last category, that is the net sown area. In our country, the net sown area is 45.26% in 1960-61. It further decreased to 43.41% in 2002-2003, and then again to 46.24%. That is, it increased again. Now one thing should be noted here, children, that all these fallow lands are in fact originally agricultural lands. So if we include all the fallow lands and the net sown area together, then we will find that the agricultural land occupies the maximum percentage of land in our country. It almost covers 54% of the land area of the country. Now we will do the major drawbacks or the demerits of the Indian land use pattern. Here, children, you can find that 2 pie charts are given in page number 6 of your book, and different categories of land use is shown with the help of colors. I have shown you to you in the form of a chart. The same thing is given in the form of pie chart. So you can follow this carefully and you can have the data from the pie chart itself. Now let us do the drawbacks of Indian land use pattern. Now the first drawback or the demerit of Indian land use pattern is that the forest area of our country is quite less. It is 22.7%. Now this forested area of our country should be 33%. If you remember the Rio de Janeiro Earth Summit, where it was promised between the countries that a huge percentage of the area must be occupied by forest so as to maintain the sustainability in the world. But in our country, the forest area is hardly 22%, that is much below the accepted norm of 33%. That also, children, in our country, in fact, the natural forested area was originally 18%, and the remaining 4% area has been increased by plantation with the help of different groups working for the maintenance of the ecology So 4% area has been artificially increased. They are not natural forest. But when we have to submit the data, we submit it together as 22.7%. So we are much below the norm that should be there. The second category, the land under permanent pasture, is very low. Now in our country there is a huge cattle population. We are one of the highest among the milk producers in the world. Now this cattle population of our country mostly depends upon the natural grass or the pastures. So if the pasture land is very low, then it means that the cattle are not getting sufficient nutrition. In many other countries where dairy industry is a dominant one, there the cattle are fed with specially grown alfalfa grass. But in our country, leave aside this specially grown grass, the cattle, they graze on the natural grasslands and their percentage is very low. The third one is quality of fallow lands of our country is very poor, and the cost of cultivation or the cost of reclamation, that is again reviving those land, is very high, and the poor farmers of our country cannot afford that. So the lands has been oversown without taking care. They are cultivated year after year and their quality has decreased to such an extent that the cost of reclamation of this land or cost of irrigation or cost of cultivation again is very high. The next thing is that no doubt a large part of our area is covered by net sown area, but that is unevenly distributed. Some states are having more than 80% of land under net sown area like Punjab, Haryana, whereas some are having less than 10% of the land like Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Andaman, Nicobar Islands, etc. And finally, the continuous use of land over a long period of time in our country has led to land degradation to a large extent. So, the land use of our country is having lot of demerits because they are not properly planned and used. Now, children, coming to the end of this session, I have a homework for you. I have given you 4 questions and I expect that you all are writing down the answers. The first one, what are the factors that control the land use of a country? Second, which areas of India have not been surveyed so far? Which land use category occupies the maximum land in India and why? And fourth, what are the major drawbacks of Indian land use pattern? Now children, you will complete this homework along with the notes that I have shown you and given you. So please complete this and keep it ready.